Hey guys, my name is Achilesha Anichewe and welcome to Econ AJ, where I explain economics in the simplest way possible. So I am excited because I haven't posted in a while. I haven't made any videos in a while due to certain challenges, but most of those have been sorted out and I am back. So I'm super excited, even though I don't show it that much. But yeah, I'm happy. Okay, so if you are new to my channel, welcome to my channel and please subscribe to my channel. And if this is yet another video you're viewing, thank you for sticking around. So without wasting much of anybody's time, let's get to it. Let's get to it. So I'm sure you've seen from the title down there, somewhere there, yeah, that we are doing part 2 of elasticity. So we're going to look at a number of interesting things. It's really interesting. But before I continue, I would suggest, if you haven't yet watched part 1, I suggest you go back, watch that one, and then come back and continue watching this one, so you don't feel left out or confused, so that we're on the same pace. Okay, so let's go. Okay, so I know I already said let's get to it, let's get started. But before we can actually get started, I would like to mention that unlike most of my videos where I use the board, today I'll be writing on a piece of paper. And don't worry, you still be able to hear what I'm saying, you still be able to see what I'm writing. The only difference is that you won't be able to see. Okay, so as promised, we are going to use a paper today, a paper and a pen. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to calculate the price elasticity of demand using an example. So I'm going to read out a question and then we will solve it. Okay, so the question reads, the initial price and quantity of popcorns is 12 kwacha and 8 kwacha respectively. The price of popcorn drops to 9 kwacha and as a result, quantity demanded increases to 10. Find the price elasticity of demand for popcorns. So I'll read the question again, but this time we're all collecting the data. So the question is asking us to find the price elasticity of demand for popcorns. So that's what we're going to focus on. So the initial price and quantity of popcorns is 12 kwacha and 8. So price is equal to 12 kwacha and the quantity is 8. So these are the initial details. And please don't mind my handwriting. Okay. So the question further reads, the price of popcorn drops to 9 kwacha, which is this 9 kwacha right here. And as a result, the quantity demanded increases to 10, which is this 10. Find the price elasticity of demand. So which is what we're finding here, our price elasticity of demand. And from our previous video, we saw the formula to calculate elasticity is equal to Q2 minus Q1 over Q2 plus Q1 divided by 2, everything being divided with P2 minus P1 over P2 plus P1 divided by 2 times 100. So this times 100, remember we said it's completely optional. So if you want, you can multiply it by 100. If you want, you don't. So it really doesn't matter. So since we have our data and we have our equation, we can now calculate our elasticity and see that it's very easy. So now we can actually do the actual calculations. So elasticity is equal to Q2, which is the second quantity, which is the 10 in this case. So that's 10 minus Q1 is the 8. 8 over Q2 plus Q1 divided by 2. Everything being divided with P2 is the 9 minus P1 is the 12 over 9 plus 12 divided by 2. So personally, I don't like to multiply by 100. Okay, so elasticity is equal to, please don't mind my hand, so 10 minus 8, that's 2 over 10 plus 8, that's 18 divided by 2, that's 9 over 9 minus 12, that's negative 3, over 12 plus 9, let me just use a calculator. 12 plus 9, that's 21, divided by 2, that's 10.5. Okay, so 10.5. So I'll just quickly do this on the calculator. So that's 2 divided by 9, that's 0.22. 0.22 divided by 3, I'll ignore the negative for now. 3 divided by 10.5, that's 0.2857. So I'll round it off to 2 decimal places, and that's 0.29. So that's negative. Don't forget the negative because the 3 is negative. 0.29. And then when we divide the 2, we have negative. So 0.22 divided by 0.29 is equal to, that's 0.758. I'll round it off to 0.76. So this is our elasticity, and this is how we calculate the price elasticity of demand. Very simple, right? Okay, so now that we know how to calculate the price elasticity of demand, for income elasticity of demand and cross price elasticity, they're not really different. It's basically the same formula. The only difference is that with income elasticity of demand, where we have P here, we're going to have I to represent income. You can use I, you can use M, depending on what you're comfortable with. So we're going to have income here instead of price. It will just be I2 minus I1 over I2 plus I1 divided by 2. The procedure is still the same. And with cross price elasticity, the formula will still remain this way. The only difference will be that if these are quantities of good X, then these will be prices of good Y. And if these are quantities of good Y, then these will be prices of good X. So yeah, that's the only difference, but the formula is basically still the same. So I hope we are clear on how to calculate elasticity using the midpoint formula. So to talk a little bit more about income elasticity of demand, after calculating your answer, let's say in this case, the answer we calculated, though this is price elasticity of demand. But with the income elasticity of demand, if your answer is positive, in this case, I'll use this example, though this is price elasticity. But if your final answer in this case, we had a negative 0.76. If this answer is positive and we're calculating income elasticity of demand, then the good you're dealing with is a normal good. So normal goods are simply goods whose demand increases with increase in income. So you get more money, you demand more of them. So that's a normal good. Okay, and then if your answer is negative, so like in this case, we had a negative answer. So if this was income elasticity of demand and our answer is negative, meaning the good we're dealing with is an inferior good. So inferior goods, these are goods whose demand reduces with increase in income. So with this one, there's a positive relationship between income and demand. So your income goes up, your demand for them goes up. But with inferior goods, there's an inverse relationship. Your income goes up, you demand less of them. Your income goes down, you demand more of them. Okay. And if our answer is greater than 1, then the good we're dealing with is a luxury good. Okay. And if our answer is less than 1, the good we're dealing with is a necessity good. Okay. So in this case, I'll use this because we've already calculated this, though this is price elasticity of demand. But just for example's sake, if this was income elasticity of demand and this answer is less than 1, so we would have said this is a necessity. And then when telling whether the good is a necessity or a luxury good, you ignore the sign. You ignore the sign. Because the sign is just there to tell you with income elasticity of demand. So I want to specify on that. I'm not really talking about price elasticity of demand. I'm talking about income elasticity of demand. I'm only using this as an example because I've already calculated this. So with income elasticity of demand, the sign is only there to tell you if a good is a normal good or an inferior good. But for you to know whether it's a luxury good or a necessity, you ignore the sign and just see if the answer is greater than 1 or less than 1. So with luxury goods, so the change in quantity is greater than the change in price. While for necessity goods, the change in price is greater than the change in quantity. So that's some of the things to note about your answer when you calculate your income elasticity of demand. While with the cross price elasticity, if you find a positive answer, it means the two goods you're dealing with are substitute goods. So substitute goods, these are two goods that give you a similar level of satisfaction. An example is Coca-Cola and Pepsi. Okay, so if let's say the price of Coca-Cola goes up, people are going to buy, the demand for Pepsi will increase because it is similar. And while if your answer is negative, meaning it means that goods you're dealing with are complement goods. So complement goods, these are two goods that are consumed as a bundle. So an example would be a cell phone and a SIM card. Okay, so if the price of cell phones increases, the demand for SIM cards will reduce. So there's that negative relationship. While for substitute goods, there's that positive relationship between the price of one good and the quantity demanded for the other good. So if your answer is positive, they're substitute goods, and if your answer is negative, they're complement goods. So the last thing we're going to look at is the relationship between elasticity and revenue. So in the elastic region, so this is the elastic region. So in the elastic region, when you reduce the price, the revenue increases. So in the elastic region, there's a negative relationship between elasticity and revenue. So when price reduces, the revenue increases, and when the price increases, the revenue reduces. Then on the unitary elastic part, this is where revenue is at its maximum. So revenue is at its maximum. So whenever you see that the revenue is at its maximum, just know that that's the unitary elastic part. While in the inelastic region, there's a positive relationship between elasticity and revenue. So when you reduce the price, the revenue increases. And when you increase the price, the revenue also increases. So as a firm, if the good you're dealing with is an elastic good, for you to increase your revenue, you have to reduce the price. Okay? And if the good you're dealing with is an inelastic good, for you to increase the revenue, you have to increase the price. So in the inelastic region, there's a positive relationship, but in the elastic region, there's a negative relationship. So that's all I had in this video. I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope you've liked it. If you have, please don't forget to like, leave me a comment on what you think or on what you would like me to explain. Don't forget to subscribe, share it. Thank you for watching, and bye bye.